I have to tell you something. I've been someone who really didn't like Dillon Brooks for a long time now. And honestly, can you blame me? This guy who doesn't show respect, I don't care that he's old, this loud-mouthed player who chokes under pressure has done a really bad job of making us NBA fans like him over the years, and yet somehow these crazy actions have gotten him an $80 million contract. What do the Houston Rockets see that I'm not seeing? And how does this bench player take up so much space in so many NBA stars' minds? Well, I did some research and it hurts me to say this, but I think Dillon Brooks just might be the most misunderstood player in the league. So here are my main reasons why you're probably wrong about Dillon Music Brooks. Ever since his college days at Oregon, Dillon has had a reputation for being a really talented defender who guards one player at a time. But when I looked at the numbers, I found it's actually pretty hard to prove this with statistics. In his 7 years playing in the league, Dillon hasn't made the top list for any fancy defensive numbers or gotten even a single vote for Defensive Player of the Year. So is Dillon's defense actually really good? Well, I looked into the stats some more and found out they may actually be unfair to him. More specifically, because Dillon is actually such a good defender that he's given the job of covering the other team's best scorer every single night. And that would hurt anyone's statistics that, in fact, in 2023, nobody guarded more plays against all-star players than Dillon Brooks. And that doesn't include just talented guards like Darius Garland, but also much bigger opponents like LeBron James. All this is to say that Dillon Brooks is one of the NBA's most flexible defenders, and the work he's being asked to do night in and night out in the league is far from easy. Check out this game that the Grizzlies played against the Warriors this past March. Dillon's defense on Curry is amazing. The way he challenges shots and gets back in position, the way he moves his feet sideways. This is the defense of a really good one-on-one defender. And the final score shows it. The Grizzlies won this game 133-116. But maybe even more impressive than the final score is the fact that Dillon held Steph Curry to just 16 points, the second fewest points Curry scored all last season. And this is Steph Curry we're talking about. Matthew Dellavedova almost died trying to guard this guy once. And yet somehow Dillon made the task of shutting down Curry look almost possible. Purasu! Curry wasn't the only Warrior whose nerves Dillon managed to get on that night. So Dillon's defense is definitely a good thing. But what about his offense? Well, that's a different story. Throughout Dillon's career, his biggest problem has always been his shot selection. In the 2022 Western semifinals, Grizzlies fans wanted to pull their hair out as Dillon shot a terrible 5-for-19 from the field in a really important game for against the Warriors, including a sad 2 from 9. From 3-point range? In the end, shooting performances like this were why the Grizzlies decided to move on from Brooks in the first place. But after just 10 games with the Rockets, NBA fans are starting to see a more grown-up offensive game from Dillon. And many are starting to wonder if maybe this guy known for taking bad shots has officially changed his ways. Since being traded to Houston, Dillon's shot attempts have gone from 13.6 per game to 9.8. And even with fewer field goal attempts, Dillon's points per game has only gone down about half a point. Dillon is playing much smarter offensive basketball than he was with the Grizzlies, passing when he's supposed to pass and shooting when he's supposed to shoot. And Dillon's three-point percentage has gone way up from this. Now, clearly, his three-point percentage is going to go down over the course of the season. But the point is, Dillon has been looking much more focused on the offensive end of the court lately, which is unfortunate because I really wanted to include more of this funny compilation someone made. So his defense is really good and his offense is much better. But I'd say neither of those things actually represent his greatest skill. So what's his greatest skill? Making people angry. It's hard to know exactly when Dillon discovered his talent for being a total pain, but early signs of Dillon's talent can be spotted as far back as his second year at Oregon when the Ducks played against Coach K and the Duke Blue Devils, with just 10 seconds left in the game and the Ducks up 11. Dillon pulled the trigger on a crazy long three-pointer from the logo, and let's just say Coach K wasn't loving it. After the game, the coach pulled Dillon aside and seemed to tell Dillon he was unhappy about Dillon's last-second shot, telling Dillon you're too good of a player to do that. And though Dillon looked like he accepted the criticism in the moment, he later told ESPN that he didn't feel like he did anything wrong, later describing the incident to SB Nation's Pete Thamel, saying, "That's my fire, that's my passion." Well, apparently that fire and passion has only gotten stronger because, as of today, I'd say Dillon Brooks is the NBA's #1 supervillain. Whether it be picking fights with Donovan Mitchell or LeBron or even Shannon Sharp, Dillon just can't seem to stay out of trouble. And maybe that's not such a bad thing. If NBA history tells us anything, it's that having a villain on your team can be a major help. I mean, would the Pistons really have been the bad boys without Dillon? Or would the Bulls have been able to compete for a second three-peat without getting Rodman? But perhaps the best example of successfully building around a villain comes from one of Brooks's greatest enemies, Draymond Green. Before Draymond Green, the Golden State Warriors were getting beat up on the defensive end of the court. In fact, in the season before drafting Green, the Warriors ranked dead last in defensive rebound percentage. But after Draymond's emergence as a bully under the boards, the Warriors' defense quickly improved and Golden State went from last in the statistic to first. Just listen to this clip of Steve Kerr talking about Draymond's impact. If not back, we're not a championship contender. We know that. You really think Steve Kerr would just say this for no reason? Kerr knows just how valuable Draymond's role is to the Warriors, and I think the same thing is already happening for Brooks and the Rockets. And that makes sense, right? Because even though these two have had their disagreements, Dillon has actually said Draymond is one of his major inspirations. You know, I want to be like Draymond Green for his team since Dillon's arrival in Houston. Houston's defensive rating has gone from second last to fifth so far this season. And it's not just Dillon whose defense is contributing to this improvement, it's the whole team. Players known for being bad defenders such as Jalen Green and Alp Sengun have appeared more locked in on the defensive side of the court this season. Now, major credit to the Rockets' new head coach, Imudo, but Dillon Brooks playing the villain role has added a serious backbone to this team. So when you break it down, Dillon actually has the qualities to be a really effective two-way player, a guy who can lead your defense on the outside, be effective without the ball offensively, and guarantee that your team won't get pushed around. So then why does everybody hate this guy? The steal, right down the middle. He's fouled hard and Peyton's in pain. Oh, right. So admittedly, signing Dillon Brooks comes with a fair amount of problems, whether it be his weird one-sided fight with LeBron or the fact that he averages more unnecessary cheap shots per 36 minutes than the rest of the league combined. This dude can't help but cause trouble, and a lot of times it's corny and goes too far. So for those of you who found themselves angry by this video's main point, I get it. Your hate for Dillon Brooks is totally reasonable. Maybe the Rockets are just getting him ready for the Chinese League. But Dillon is far from a finished product. And in sports, we love a comeback story, right? So why not Dillon? I think the Rockets made a smart gamble betting on Brooks. If Brooks can buy in offensively, learn a little self-control, and limit his creepy staring, then I think Dillon could truly grow into being one of the great role players of this generation. And hey, even if it doesn't work out, at least we know it'll be entertaining, right? Let's go.